and welcome back to the channel. Today we'll be talking about what happens when voters get exactly what they voted for. But as always, if you like the stuff I talk about and you want to help support the channel, please like, subscribe, and feel free to comment about anything we talk about today. So today we're going to be talking about the town of Brighton. Now, for those who don't know what Brighton is, Brighton is the modern day Sodom and Gomorrah. It's a seaside town on the south coast of England, and it's probably the gayest place in the United Kingdom. Um, it's a very liberal town. It has been for decades, well ahead of the curve of everyone else. Just imagine the most woke, sort of progressive place you can think of. That's Brighton. Okay. I know people who have actually moved from my town of Bournemouth to Brighton, and they were the sort of people that would really like that kind of stuff. Um, it's a nice-ish town. I'll give it that. I mean, the beach is terrible because it's just full of stones rather than sand. I mean, you want to build a sand castle rather than an actual castle, but there we go. Um, and because it's been so progressive and pro woke, historically they've always sort of voted for those sort of parties. Now, I'll just quickly show you what their election results have been. So there's three different constituencies within Brighton. You've got Brighton Pavilion, Brighton Kempton, and then you got Hove. Hove's like a little, people call it like Brighton and Hove. It's like a little like subset next to it. So as you can see there, Brighton Pavilion, they've been voting the Green Party ever since, well, since I got here, 2010. Now, obviously, the Greens have got more popular recently, but back then, that was the only Green Party member in Parliament. And that's back when the Green Party actually cared about animals and cared about, women's rights and things like that. Now, they don't mind halal and kosher slaughter, and women's rights can take a back seat if an Islamist is talking. So, that's that. Brighton Kempton, as you can see there, it was conservative for a wee bit, been Labour for the last decade or so. And then the last one, Hove, apart from 2010, obviously that was a big Labour wipeout after the financial crash. It's been Labour ever since. So, reason I mention this is because Labour and definitely the Greens are very much open borders sort of parties. So if you're voting for Labour, and especially if you're voting for the Green Party, you're sort of saying, yes, as a constituency, we are very happy to have open borders. And if you ever go down Brighton on a summer's day, in the summer, you're probably going to find loads of people with signs there saying "Queers for Palestine" or all that sort of nonsense. Go there wearing a MAGA hat, and you'll have a great day out. That's the sort of place we're talking about. So now that I've set the scene, Brighton is a cesspit woke s-hole. Why are we talking about it? Well, some things have happened recently in Brighton, and I'm going to say straight away, I don't think any of the victims I'm going to mention deserve anything that happened to them. I'm going to make that very, very clear. But when you're voting for this kind of crap, you expect crap to happen. So, very recently, last month, we had three men who assaulted a woman on Brighton Beach were jailed. So this was back in October. These three men, Abdullah Ahmadi, Ibrahim al Shaif, whatever, and Kalin al Danzasert. They attacked this woman on Brighton Beach, so it's around 4th of October, led a woman to the beach, all took turns on her. They've now been convicted for it. They were convicted 15th of July. They all got like 20 plus years for it. Terrible thing to happen. Terrible people. In the last few weeks, some other stuff has happened. So, number one, 4th to 5th of August, Sussex police are investigating a report of an assault of a woman in her 20s on Brighton Beach. A 28-year-old man was arrested on suspicion of assault and held in custody. Police cordoned off the beach. The victim received support from special officers. Nationality of the suspect was not publicly detailed in initial reports. Next one, Black Rock Beach Madeira Drive, Sunday 2nd of August 2026. Akias Yemuddin, 51, British national from Crawley. Remember that. Was charged with 2 counts of oral assault and 1 count of SA by penetration. He appeared in court in connection with alleged offences on Sunday morning. Next one. Separate incident. Wasn't on the beach because I asked it if it was on the beach. Hani Mohammed, 37, British national of no fixed abode, was charged with assault and common assault after a woman of 30 reported being assaulted in a flat on High Street, Brighton, and that was at the end of July. This was reported as a cluster of alleged attacks in the city that week, but it did not occur on the beach. That's because I asked it on the beach. So, as you can see there, we've got 3 separate incidents. The last one mentioned there was a cluster of incidents, so I've not seen that. All those names there aren't British nationals. Now, Akiyas Jamildeen, I put his name into search. Syria is where that name sort of comes from, possibly Iraq, but basically it's a Western Asian name. Hani Mohammed, North Africa. So these aren't British people, even though it's reported British nationals. These aren't British people. So that's the story. That's what we're talking about today. So when I was thinking about sort of how we're going to talk about this, I've got a son, and we try to teach him not to touch things that are going to hurt him. So let's say it's a bit hot at the moment. Let's say there's a radiator, and the radiator's on, and it's hot. If my son walks up to it and wants to put his hands in it, we say, no, 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 don't touch that. Because he's a cheeky chappy, what you might do, you might smile at me and then go to touch it again. We say, no, don't touch that. But then he might try it one more time, and then you pick him up, take him to the other side of the room and go, no, I told you, do not touch that, go do something else. And then he might get distracted. Then you turn around, all of a sudden, what's happened? He's ran over to the radiator, burnt his hands, had to go to the hospital and get them all stitched, soothed up. Didn't happen, by the way. Don't call Child Protective Services. The reason I mention that is because woke, liberal women, white women, are basically like children. They have the same mental capacity, mental acuity, and are not able to think more than 2 seconds ahead of time. The reason I'm saying that is because we've now got a situation where you'll see it on YouTube, you'll see it on the news all the time. These sort of progressive people are constantly out in the streets saying we need to let all the refugees in, no such thing as borders, none of this nonsense. Then, when they do let them in, terrible assaults like these happen, and obviously I've got no idea who the victims are. They're kept anonymous, obviously, for their own protection and privacy. But there's a very good chance that those victims are the liberal white women that allowed these people in. At what point are people going to realise that you're going to get exactly what you voted for, so stop doing it? Now, they're never going to change because these people are mentally unwell, and they're just not right in the head. So I'm just picking something up because in the news recently, I'll just quickly get this up. We've had Andy Burnham, King of the North, now our Prime Minister. He now wants to put migrant camps, sorry, not camps, HMOs and things. Sorry, Nigel, don't listen to you. He wants to put those in middle class areas now. Now, it's good Nigel came up on the screen, because I don't know if you recall, Reform came out and said, when we win the general election, any constituency that voted for the Green Party, we're going to stick the migrants there. Now, a lot of people, including Restore, came out and said that's a horrible thing to say. How can you say it? Like, you can't, because everyone knows the risks involved of having all these migrants living in your area. But the fact of the matter is, until these people actually see the consequences of their actions, they're never going to change their minds. I've got a friend who now lives in the middle of nowhere, and every time we don't really talk anymore, but every time we used to talk about sort of the grooming gangs, I could sort of see sort of in their eyes like they really did not care. Like, I don't know if it's a snobbery thing or it's a class thing, but they just did not seem to really care about white working class girls getting groomed in these northern towns. So, if migrants now get moved to these areas, so these progressive areas, these liberal white women areas, and then they go on to, let's be honest, assault them because these people are barbaric savages, is that what's going to make people finally twig and go, right, now we don't like this? Every time I see when somebody gets assaulted by somebody of migrants, what I think of is you've basically just created a new reform photo or a new restore photo, because the victim, now you do get some weird victims who blame themselves and don't report it to the police, but let's forget those. The victim obviously doesn't like migrants anymore. The victim's family doesn't like migrants anymore. Close friends won't like migrants anymore. In fact, what was it? Anna Kasparian, she's this American woman. She got mugged by migrants, and her progressive friends turned on her for being upset about it. So yeah, some of these people are mental, and it might take a while before they get there. But essentially, what my point is it going to take more and more women being attacked to get them to change their minds about open borders? And is it going to take moving all these migrants into these progressive working, like middle class areas before people start to do it? I'm really hoping no, because I think if this keeps going on, we're going to bend so much that we're not going to break. We're just going to bend right back and just start doing some horrible things to each other. So yeah, that's the purpose of today's story. If you know a progressive, please do share this story with them, because unfortunately it's really going to take them seeing the truth before they might change their mind. Otherwise, guys, nice short one for me today. Have a great rest of your day, and best luck with everything. Bye bye.